Good evening, everyone. I'm happy to give you the Chairman's report for the National Park Association for the year ended 30th of April 2020. And I'd like to start with achievement and performance. First of all, looking at charitable activities. The work of the GNPA during the period of the 1st of May 2019 to 30th April 2020 has focused on four main areas of work which have followed on from the earlier work of the charity. Firstly, gathering support for a national park, including increasing membership. Secondly, continuing to promote and undertake research into how the natural and cultural heritage of the area can be furthered through the designation of a national park. Thirdly, sharing with others through a variety of mediums. And finally, engaging with the Scottish Government on how a national park could contribute to the area. The work of the Galloway National Park Association, like many similar charities, has had to be adapted to cope with the constraints of the COVID-19 pandemic. Meetings of trustees to ensure good governance have continued to take place via video conferencing during the lockdown period. The work programme has been adapted to focus on these things which the association can work on behind the scenes until such time as public meetings can be resumed. Prior to mid-March, considerable progress had been made on achieving the charity's objectives. Building on over 100 meetings undertaken in the previous year, meetings in 2019-20 have been fewer but more targeted now. It is clear that there is overwhelming public support to pursue the designation of Galloway as a national park. Meetings have taken place with the Forestry Commission Scotland, Forest and Land Scotland, the NFUS, groupings of community councils, and other interested groups. Trustees and volunteers spent a productive 2 days talking to the public at the Kirkcudbright Arts and Crafts Trail event. Our AGM in October included a presentation from Douglas Chalmers, Chief Executive of the Friends of the Lake District, who described the consultations leading towards the recent boundary extensions to the Lake District National Park. We were pleased to welcome so many of our members to the event and to be able to announce that our total membership had grown to 600. Membership has continued to grow and now stands at well over 700, an increase of over 350 in the accounting year. The combination of membership subscriptions and associated donations provided the charity with over £2,500 to continue its work. Whilst the case for a national park in Galloway remains compelling, it's been necessary to continue to update the evidence for this in the light of the biodiversity and climate change agendas, which were due to be high-profile events for Scotland during 2020. The complexities of Brexit and now the shutdown of major parts of the economy due to COVID-19 have all added to this. Galloway continues to lag behind the surrounding areas and the rest of Scotland, as shown in the 2020 Scottish indices of multiple deprivation, with the more remote areas suffering the worst. This is despite it being a very active period for timber extraction and agricultural intensification. A report on the support for farming in national parks was released by the Scottish Campaign for National Parks in November 2019. Later that month, the potential socio-economic impact of a new national park in Galloway was also published by the Scottish Campaign for National Parks, updating an earlier report commissioned by the association in 2017. Sharing our findings and promoting them through a wider variety of mediums has been a key part of our work in the last year. Over 200 posters have been displayed across the region, aimed at both local people and visitors to the area. Banners promoting the need to engage in the discussion and support the work of the association have been distributed at 16 key points across the area from the Mull of Galloway to Dalmellington. These included the Stranraer Oyster Festival and along the route of the Tour of Britain cycle race, where it passed through Galloway. The latter event also allowed us to get both printed media and television coverage. We've continued to raise the profile through social media and had almost 1,200 followers on Facebook, 1,000 on Instagram, and 450 on Twitter prior to the onset of COVID-19. We also distributed almost 3,000 leaflets summarising the case for creating a national park in Galloway as soon as possible, made in the It's Our Time document that we submitted to the Scottish Government in April 2019. We've had regular features in the local press, and in March we're able to give significant airtime from two-part feature on Border Television around the campaign for national parks in southern Scotland. This featured locals, visitors, and critically, the young people of the area, and we're grateful on this occasion to the staff and parents of Castle Douglas High School who made this possible. Ultimately, the decision on whether a Galloway National Park can be created must be taken by the Scottish Government. We're really pleased that we've maintained cross-party support from local MSPs Finlay Carson, Emma Harper, and Colin Smith, who've been active and united in support of our campaign. Having the backing of the three main political parties at local level has been a huge bonus for the campaign for a park. In November 2019, a motion led by Colin Smith for the principle of creating more national parks in Scotland was unanimously backed by the Scottish Parliament. We've met Marie Goujon, Minister for Rural Affairs and the Natural Environment, on 3 occasions during the year. These have been cordial and frustrating in equal measure, ending with a maybe but not now response. This has resulted in the association refocusing its efforts towards the 2021 Scottish elections, following a successful trustee workshop in January, where we prioritised our future work. In the run-up to the UK elections in December, all the local prospective candidates for MP were supportive of a national park in Galloway, including Alistair Jagg, who was re-elected and became Secretary of State for Scotland. On charitable activities, the association couldn't function without the active support of members and supporters, nor could it function without the generous commitment of the trustees and active volunteers who've all contributed hugely of their time and expertise. 2 of our founding trustees have been incapacitated by long-term illness in the year, and sadly, Andy McNabb died in March. As the principal author of our initial discussion document and a core part of our public-facing team, he will be greatly missed. We're fortunate that others have stepped forward to cover the work, and we've been able to recruit new trustees to strengthen the association. The trustees also wish to take this opportunity to record our thanks to Janet Gibson, who's been our board secretary since the association was set up and who sadly tendered her resignation as a trustee on the 2nd of June last year. We're pleased she will continue to support our efforts as a member, and we're very thankful that Dr. Marion Thompson has stepped in to fill her role. Much has been achieved in the year, and the creation of the Galloway National Park remains firmly within our sights, despite the timescale being longer than we would ideally like. The pandemic will be the biggest and most immediate challenge we must all face, but may, in the end, help our cause as the area looks for ways to recover. Regarding the financial review in our reserves policy, the association doesn't consider it necessary to have a formal reserves policy at this time, but has budgeted very carefully and retains a small surplus at the end of the year. Our principal funding sources are: to fund this work, the association has relied on members' fees and donations, principally from members and supporters. The association is very grateful to the numerous people who've given so generously. The income received has been used in the main to pay the costs of the ministerial launch and distribution of our document, A Galloway National Park, It's Our Time, and to print associated banners and leaflets. It's also enabled us to hold our event and AGM at Catstrand in October, as well as maintaining our ongoing social media activities. At the end of the period, the association held funds of £7,683, and in 2019 that sum was £7,331, so very similar amount, all of which is unrestricted money. I'm happy to present this report to you, and I have signed the annual report on behalf of the trustees. Thank you.